Today we're gonna learn Git. What is Git? Git is a software that keeps track of changes in your project files. Think of it like a history tracker. You can go back to every version that you have made. If you made a change, you can go back to a previous version that you've already done. Okay, now let's start with a simple command, that is git init. When you open your terminal, you can type in git init. Now this terminal should be pointing to the folder that you're working in, your project folder. So here I have directed the terminal to my project folder, that is purposes. And now in this folder, when you type in git init in the terminal, what does it do? We can see that it created a hidden folder called .git. Now what this folder is for is, it shows that Git is now watching our folder. It's gonna hold all the information about our project's history. Now we need to know about what happens, okay? Here's a simple way to think about it. Imagine a stage and all the files in our project are sitting in the audience. Now when we run git add with the file name, that file moves onto the stage. That's how we're gonna imagine it now. Only files that we need to be part of the next action done by Git will we need to add to the stage, okay? No other files in the... Yeah, you get it. Now we can use git status to see what files are on stage and what files are in the audience seat. And remember, anything we do next in Git from now will only apply to the files on stage. Nothing will happen to the files in the audience. Okay, now we need to know about what happens behind the scenes when we run git commit. When we run git commit, we pass a message. So here we can see -m added text. -m is telling that we want to add a message. And what is written in quotes can be anything that tells what this commit is doing. So now let's say in my text document I have some text. So I'll commit added text to show that I have added some text. Now save that version. Now when I do this, it goes through a hash function. This whole commit, what is in the file and everything, goes through a hash function and it generates a commit hash. And that references, that points to the commit that we've made, the what is in the file, when the file was committed, all of that information will be pointed to with this hash. So using this hash we can get all that information. So even if we have commits with the same message, we can still distinguish them because their hashes will be different. Now we can see when we run git log, we can see that we can see all the hashes of all the commits we've made. Git log basically shows us everything that we have done in Git so far. Okay, now here's what that looks like. Each row in this table is a commit. The hash points to the version of the file stored at the moment. So for example, when our file contained the text Git stored that version of the file under that commit hash. Now let's say we make a change to the file and commit again. Now that file goes through the hash function and gets a brand new commit hash. Then our table updates to show the new version alongside the previous version. So now in this way, Git builds a complete history of how our project has changed over time. Now I'll show you the workflow of everything. So first, let's make a change to the file, save it. Then this is the file that we need to act on, so we add it to the stage. And then I'll show you the status of what is in stage, what is not stage. What we have added is now in stage, the other one is untracked, not in stage. Then we can commit it, aka save that version of the file. I'm putting the message added text. And now voila, that's done. Now I'm making more changes, saving the file And now I add that file again. We have to add the file again, remember that. And then I commit with another message. The messages we add should signify what exactly we have done, ideally. And now when we look at git log, you can see all the commits we've made and the commit hashes. Now here's another cool part of Git. I can use the commit hash of a commit I've made to go back a step. So if I'm taking the commit hash of this commit and I pass in the no edit argument, I can revert that commit that I made. Now you can see the file has updated. I reverted it back to the previous version that I was in. No edit just says that I don't want to add a message to this new commit, because when we reverted, as you can see in git log, a new commit has been made saying that we reverted. Now another cool part is you can revert a revert. So if I take the commit hash of the reverted commit, I can reverse what I reversed and go back to the previous version again. Right? How cool is that? Okay. Now let's move on again. Now we're gonna talk about quality of life improvements. Okay, we can use git add dot. That dot means all the files in the folder. So when you use that, all of the files in the folder will be moved into a stage. But obviously we won't want some files, so maybe some security issues or something. We need some things private. So for that, we're gonna use a command called touch.gitignore. What this does is it creates a file in your folder which you can edit to add another file. So here I have just shown a simple image. I've put dude.txt in gitignore file. So now when I do git add dot, which should track every file in the folder, you can still see that dude is still in the audience. It's because we put that in the gitignore. So whatever is put in gitignore will not be tracked. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Here I'll show you the working. I use touch.gitignore. That creates a file .gitignore. You can open it using any text editor. And I add in the file do.txt. And now when I add all the files and check status, dude is not being tracked. That is the cool part of it. Okay. Now when we add git add dot, all the files in the folder gets added to a stage, right? But another thing we can do is using git reset and adding the file name, I can remove that file from being tracked. So if I do git add dot hello dude, dude we ignored, hello and gitignore is being tracked. But if I don't want gitignore to be tracked, I can just use git reset dot gitignore. If I don't want hello to be tracked, I can use git reset hello.txt. If I don't want anything to be tracked, again git reset dot. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all of Git's basics. Yeah, catch you again soon. Yeah.